worst idea of all time. It's the worst idea of all time. It's the worst idea of all time. Season 2.
Hello and welcome to the worst idea of all time, episode 35.
Screening 34. My name is Guy Montgomery.
My name is Tim Batt.
We are
On a quest.
warriors on a quest.
On a quest to watch Sex and the City 2 more times than anyone else.
And
than anyone else has ever done it.
If not that, at least more times than is necessary.
Big time.
A threshold which I would argue we've already crossed over.
Oh, yeah. Hey, let me say this right from the outset. I would like to thank someone who's helping us. And by someone, I mean something. And by something, I mean Karma Cola. This episode's sponsor. Karma Cola. It's good for you.
It is.
Well, I don't know if that's medically
as
true.
good as a cola can be for you.
There you go.
You're holding, first of all, the shape of the bottle is what I'd like to emphasize.
Okay. Let me just put that in my head. Okay, very shapely.
Have you got a visual?
Yeah, it's a nice curvy
Glass
number.
blonde. Every piece and installation. They hire a very reclusive but sort of well-established within the art world glass blower who lives in the Himalayas to blow every bottle.
Himalayan
They're
glass
actually
blower.
losing money on the venture.
Oh, no.
That's right. I mean, it's ridiculous, really. They're importing these sort of individual art installations as bottles and then just giving them out to be recycled. It makes no sense. But such is their commitment to quality, this is what they're doing.
And that's true of all of Karma Cola's operations, really. They're all about the quality. From woe to go. The cola itself, top-notch stuff. Really top-notch product. Really good stuff. I would like to remind everyone that it doesn't have disgusting things in it, all those artificially things. It's just got good, sweet things like real sugar instead of high fructose corn syrup. And they're a great company because they give back to the farmers that they take the cola beans from.
One in every 100 bottles contains a laminated check for $10,000,
I heard that.
redeemable to cash.
I heard that it's a rumor. It's
Yeah.
a rumor that's going
It's
around.
on the rumor mill.
A lot of rumors going around. Another rumor going around is this movie we just watched, not so good.
That's right. I don't know who's out there working the gossip mill, but they're spreading vicious and heartless and, frankly, baseless and unfounded rumors vis-a-vis Sex and the City 2.
What are they saying, Guy? What are the muck peddlers out there pushing?
They're
What
saying
what are
it's
they
too
cracking
long.
out?
They're saying it's waterlogged. It's flogging a dead horse. They're saying there's no chemistry remaining. There's no storyline. It's offensive. All this stuff is untrue, patently untrue. This film is a triumph.
It is a real piece of work. And I mean that in the most sincere sense I can mean it.
That's right. It's an ambiguous term, and the way you said it it didn't make it explicitly clear that what we are advocating right now is the movie.
It's great, is what I want to say. Sex and the City's great. That's why I had such a fun time watching it today. By which I mean I was very depressed watching this film today.
I could see in your eyes, I know why it is. It's because it's so good. It's so all-absorbing, all-encompassing. It's such a journey to another destination that all of your personal woes and problems, the reason that we watch movies, all become apparent when watching Sex and the City 2.
It's
you
the
were so upset
same.
to know that you had but 2.5 hours away from the hubble and stubble and trouble of everyday life.
There is an element of that because of the nature of how we conduct ourselves while we're watching the movie. We like to shut ourselves off. But I've got to say, I flirted with that line today, and I ordered a pizza halfway through. Turned my phone back on.
You did, and you
ordered
even
a
wrote
pizza.
a positive affirmation in the message to the pizza maker.
Yeah, like a smart ass. I hope they appreciate it though.
I feel like it was in earnest. It's difficult to convey tone through text.
Yeah, it is. I was really just trying to convey the notion of having a good day. Because, if you work for a pizza place, good on you, is what I say. But it's not the world's funnest job at all times. Sometimes you're dealing with some real pieces of shit and you got to go to their house because that's the nature of pizza delivery.
I like the idea of being a pizza boy.
You do or you don't?
I do.
Yeah, I feel like I could get on board, eh? Something, maybe it's like Futurama really kind of put it in my head that it would be a cool thing to do.
In
Be a delivery boy.
Montreal, I lived there for a summer. I worked at a sushi restaurant, quite a flashy sushi restaurant that would deliver sushi
I didn't know this.
to people's homes. And it's actually, I think it's a legal requirement in Quebec that you have to be bilingual. You have to be able to hold it, like every interaction has to be opened in French. And you have to be able to speak both French and English to hold down a job there.
And Guy, may I take this opportunity to say, parlez-vous français?
Non, 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 which is French for no, no, no. Anyway, one day one of the drivers who delivered the sushi was sick and I got to step up to the plate. And I've got to say, I have not had a better afternoon at work. I was driving around Montreal in this like flashy neighborhood to these sort of half French people, just giving them sushi.
And were they cool to deal with, these peeps? Were they like...
I was actually pretty nervous talking to all of them because I didn't speak any French.
Yeah.
But it was fine.
Awesome. I did my first bar job last weekend, at Brothers. It was awesome. Working can be fun, as long as you don't do it too much. That's my takeaway.
It's good to get your opinion on these things, Tim.
I've played that game. I played that game for many years. The old allegedly 40-hour week, worked in many call centers is what I did.
Now, is it true that one of your colleagues made himself a screensaver?
Of what?
Of
the work thing.
Is that you?
No, that's what when the stand-up community call a construction. A fabrication, if you will.
I genuinely believed that. This whole time I've known you.
There was enough specificity to that's what makes a joke real. Give it specificity, give it life. Anywho's, no one knows what we're talking about. It was a bit I used to do on stage, on the stage when I was doing stand-up about...
It wasn't a bit, it was real. Let me believe it was real.
It was a guy that I used to know at my old job, and he created a screensaver which looked like him doing work. So he just used to bash the keys on an unplugged keyboard while his screen animated itself to no end. Like he could have just been doing the work. But that was kind of like an amalgamation of people I worked with, where they would go to such great lengths to do not the work, and it would be easier to just do the work than to find all these, very exotic ways of getting out of it.
Yeah.
That was the point I was trying to convey.
Hey, and you did a great job of it.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
To the movie. To the film.
Floor.
To the movie we just watched. It's a joy. You know who my favorite character is?
Who?
Carrie Bradshaw.
Why?
She's identifiable.
Yes.
She's everything a protagonist should be. She's empathetic. She's funny. She's got pizzazz. She's got panache. A great group of friends. They say that the measure of a person is the people around that person.
Yes.
Carrie Bradshaw keeps only the finest company. She's in a rock-solid marriage. She understands. She is the perfect audience surrogate. I identify with Carrie Bradshaw.
You're just like Carrie Bradshaw?
I'm just like Carrie Bradshaw.
You're also a writer living on New York City's Upper East Side.
I am
currently married to an investment banker.
Aren't we
Maybe.
all? Aren't we all?
I guess when you really dig deep down in there, we all are Carrie Bradshaw. We all are writers in some way. We all are demonstrating to others and communicating how the dating life works in New York City in the modern era.
All are.
We're all big though. You know what I mean?
We're all smooching Aiden.
We're all Miranda. We are all Charlotte. We are all Aiden. We are all Brady. We are all Brady.
We are not all Brady.
We are all of us Brady. And Brady is all of us.
Brady represents all of us.
This was a hard watch this time. A really hard and harsh one. This is troubling, unsettling and unkind and unrelenting.
Why do you think that is, Tim?
I think it's just there's so many now. We've really stacked them all up. Do you know what I'm saying? It's gotten too much. We've piled it a bit too high.
And the foundations are weak.
Yeah.
And we knew the foundations were weak in week one, but we kept building. We kept putting another level on.
What's he building in there?
What's he building in there?
We built it on sand with terrible, untreated timber.
We've built a 34-story building using all the 3 different types of metal.
Which, of course, are...
iron.
Yes.
Steel.
Yes.
And wood. The building's too high, the foundation's too weak. The materials are inarguably the best. but materials aren't enough.
All three kinds of metal. We've got it all.
A lot of other buildings are thinking of using a similar makeup.
The building's coming down, though. This is my concern. Like, the building's getting very shaky. The building's being tested at the moment. That's what I felt, like a big tremor going through it today. The earth shook beneath me. Shook my beliefs to my core.
Why is the earth shaking?
Because there is a 2.5 hour elephant in the room, which I need to engage and deal with on a weekly basis. And it's
not really an elephant, though, is it?
Elephants
Elephants traditionally. It is ironic that whenever you are in a room with an elephant, you aren't allowed to address it because your impulse when you're in a room with an elephant is obviously immediately to be like, well, I'm going to be honest with you guys. This is pretty unusual for me.
Anyone else seeing the elephant? Like, is this just me, or are we all on board that?
And they all know we're noticing them. But what
the elephants, you mean?
Yes, of course they do.
Yeah,
they're not idiots.
They're not. They're very intelligent, highly emotional, and they have great memory skills.
They can use their trunk as a snorkel.
Doesn't make
They can go underwater for a very long time.
Wait, are you serious? Do they do that?
Yes.
Like, do they have a concept of how to do it themselves?
Yes, they are highly intelligent.
Cool. The elephant in the room
and it can
is
pick
always...
up a trunk can pick up a peanut, something as small as a peanut.
That's very dexterous with its trunk. Very strange turn of phrase. The elephant in the room. If there is an elephant in the room, it's going to be priority one.
That's right.
It almost doesn't matter what else is happening in the room. The room could be on fire and you're still going to go,
yeah, I'd say,
dudes, we need to kind of figure out the situation with the elephant.
Depending on the severity of the fire, I would say the elephant is the more immediate, I don't want to say threat or risk, but like it's certainly the first thing I would consider.
It's just there. There's no getting around it. A fire you can kind of ignore for a little bit before it starts really kicking up. An elephant, man. You're going to address that. Anyway, maybe gorilla's a better metaphor. This is like a big 250-pound gorilla that's in the room and it's pissed off and it's about to ruin my day and rip my face off.
It's just done it.
Yeah.
And now you're just sitting in the aftermath.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because it's like, we do need to mic ourselves up and do a... we're going to do a commentary at some point soon anyway, but... Once we get to the end of the film, we're both very spent emotionally, which I think we've communicated on the podcast before. But there's also a certain level of elation which comes through. Like if we were talking to you while the movie was on, it would be a horrible mucky mess of depression. This podcast,
I don't know,
it'd just be sadness.
No, the first bit, I generally think that we are good at staying upbeat and entertaining each other for an hour.
Yeah. That's why it's so sad when we're apart and we've got to
someone
watch
actually,
it separately.
I can't remember. I should really know their name. A fan sent us a message saying that once we've watched Sex and the City 2 for the 36th time, I believe, we will have clocked up more hours with Sex and the City 2 than we did with the entirety of Grown Ups 2 in the first season.
With a mere 3 dozen watches under our belts. That is, hey, go us.
It's like, that is...
Good God.
Yeah. That really put it in perspective for me because you're still sitting on another 16 screenings of a movie. That's a lot.
Fuck, that is a lot.
That's 4 months worth of movie.
Man alive. Oh, that's too much, I would say.
Got a lot on your plate, Tim. There's no way a man as wiry as you is going to be able to digest all that food.
Well, look, if our terrible, rotten foundations on sand can hold up a 30-whatever story building is currently there, I've got faith in my own foundations as a human, as an individual being.
That's right. And sitting there on the 34th floor of this shaky building with a book, a leather-bound book, absolutely packed to the gills with thoughts, ideas, etchings and sketchings, brimming with entrepreneurial potential. It's Mr. Big and his big book of ideas.
Let's crack it open today, see what we're dealing with, eh? Oh, that's a funny drawing. Look at that. It looks to me like a boy, but he's got a unicorn horn on his forehead. What an interesting concept. We'll turn the page. We'll flip the page on that one. Oh, look at that one. It's a little girl riding a trike, but she's got rockets attached to the back. This seems a little dangerous for a kid.
I quite
we'll
like
turn the page on that one.
Okay.
Let's see what else we got here. Oh, that's a funny joke. It's good. You see how the door works in there. It's good.
It's more visual than anything.
Yeah, sorry, I won't dwell on that one. Oh, here we go. Here's a fresh page from Big's Big Book of Ideas.
Jesus Christ, that is it's unsightly. What is that? It looks like some sort of huge industrial scale laboratory, almost like the milking sheds where they milk cows, but it's like an aquarium, and there are these caged captive octopuses, or octopi, I believe is the plural.
You got it.
And it would appear that there's some sort of apparatus which is being engaged with the arsehole of the octopus, and it's extracting a shit, and then
fecal matter,
and then compressing it into the shape of a small diamond. It looks to me like Mr. Big, on a very large scale, is forcing shit from octopi and peddling them across the world in the jewelry markets as black diamonds.
Wow. Game changing. It's a revolution. So is this why he gets Carrie the black diamond ring at the end of the film?
I would believe so. I mean,
spoiler alert, everyone. When Carrie cheats on her husband, she gets a diamond out of it, but it's black.
It's octopus shit.
But if it's an octopus shit, that makes more sense from a character point of view, because Big giving her a diamond makes no sense, but Big giving her an octopus shit parading around, Trojan horsing, if you will, as a diamond, hilarious. She shows all her mates, they're all holding their nose going, oh, isn't it funny that Carrie lost her sense of smell and doesn't realise this is an octopus shit?
You don't think that Mr. Big has figured out how to cover the smell of an octopus shit? You think that these black diamonds that are being sold still absolutely honk?
Yeah, dude, if you heat them up. If they're anything above room temperature, they will smell to high heaven. Have you ever smelt an octopus fart before? I have.
I can't say I have.
I go snorkeling every second weekend, and let me tell you something. It is not a pleasant odor.
People tend not to be able to pick up smells in the ocean on account of
not if you're a fucking rookie diver, bro. If you are a proper diver and you have learnt how to breathe through your nose while you're underwater, then you know all the smells of the ocean.
Are you not wearing a mask which would prevent any smells or gases from being able to...
Not if you're a fucking some level beyond noob, bro. If you're a pro diver like me that's getting out on the water every fortnight, then you absolutely don't need a mask.
I think pro divers get out in the water more than once every 2 weeks, Tim.
I kicked it back a little bit to fit more things in my life because diving was taking over. I got to be honest with you, Guy. It was not a good scene. It was not a good scene at all.
What was going on down there?
I kind of got addicted to the smells. It's so overwhelming and overpowering that there's sort of a Pavlovian element to it as well. You know that if you're in the water, you don't have to deal with the dredge of everyday life. You're free. And then I started to associate that with the smell, and it just became this whole concoction of getting in the water as soon as I could to just escape it all. And I'd spend hours down there, Guy, circular breathing like I learnt from the Aborigines when I was in Sydney. And I'd be down there under the water, just smelling all the smells, talking to the starfish, sparkling conversationalists that they are. And every now and then when I'd see a little baby squid or a little octopus there, I'd be cutting a trail in the opposite direction, because those things, if you're anywhere near them when they blow off, that stink takes a while to shower off.
And you think the smell registers with humans who haven't had intricate and vivid experiences diving with these creatures? You think the smell is so... It's not like a refined, learned smell.
As the old saying goes, an octopus fart is an octopus fart. You know, I call a spade, and we've all smelt an octopus fart, and it's terrible. It's yuck.
Well, I mean, in which instance, this doesn't seem like the most promising of business ventures for Mr. Big on account of the transparency of the fraud. I mean, if these diamonds smell under heat...
This is the beautiful thing about it. He's going off selling all these rings because he's been so... what's the word I'm looking for? Spurred by his lover. Spurned, thank you. Spurned by his lover, Carrie, his wife, she cheated on him, that he's kind of taking it out on the whole gender. Because guys traditionally don't buy black diamonds. It's more of a thing for women. So he's like, screw woman. And he's selling all these octopus
He's
poops.
really working through some stuff right now.
Yeah. But he's making, as always, a quick buck on the side.
I would never accuse Big of making a quick buck on the side. I would always say that Mr. Big is having a real good, honest go of it.
Yeah.
The successes or, you got to look at a guy who's throwing shit against the wall every week in the hopes of something taking off and say, this guy obviously doesn't have a lot of business acumen. If none of these ideas have taken to seed,
yeah.
I mean, the guy's floundering.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right about that, Guy Montgomery. No doubt. A squid. What's he doing? Why is he
Gabba-daboo bobbing.
That's the question that we ask every week.
Pretty
because
outside of the box.
there's a dude in this film, and we've had a couple of people talk to us recently and say, "Hey, look, watch the movie. Didn't see Coffee Guy." Well, guess what? He's in there.
You're not trying
ever
hard
so
enough.
briefly, and he's in the background of a shot as well. He's in the film for.
Before we
like
watch the
11
movie
seconds.
today, to prolong the amount of time before we had to confront the untamable gorilla,
we really put it off.
we
this week.
we were YouTubing behind the scenes or outtakes from Sex and the City 2, which
It felt
I mean,
less cheating because it was in the universe.
it felt kind of like looking at the very, very bottom of the YouTube barrel.
Yeah. We struck upon an interview with Chris Noth and Sarah Jessica Parker, which was recorded, I guess, as part of the press junket for this film. Neither of them look particularly stoked to be there. And it's unscripted, which I think we saw the Grown Ups 2 one of that as well, if I'm not mistaken, one day when we were trying to avoid watching that. We probably were in the exact same situation. And it's them kind of interviewing each other, and they get user-submitted questions to chat about and stuff. And I tell you what, not a fun pairing to listen to.
I didn't
unscripted.
think... your experience with Sex and the City 2 probably coloured your opinion of the back and forth.
Don't you try and defend them. Chris Noth is a bit of a dullard.
I was a wee when you were watching the beginning of it, so I just came in on the tail end of it.
Well, I'll give you a heads up. Chris Noth, a bore. Not interesting. Doesn't know how to engage with people in an interview setting.
That's not relevant, because another one of the videos we watched was that we were watching the shooting, the raw footage of the cafe scene being shot, in which Coffee Guy stars. And we became very excited at the prospect of seeing him maybe even break character, which I don't know is possible, because as we understand, it's a sort of a character piece.
I just wanted more of him, because it's like, if I could find a single additional frame to the 11 seconds of footage we have of him right now, like I'd be happy. I'd be very happy indeed. A little more context to this complex, layered character.
But in terms of what the guy was going to do with all of his Java-based energy, I mean, where exactly was that? I mean, he had a real pep in his step. Look, he had rockets in his shoes. The man was moving at such pace.
He did. His father was an inventor, wasn't he?
Was
he? Of course he was. And as a child, Coffee Guy watched a lot of Inspector Gadget, and he just couldn't get enough of those contraptions that were built into pieces of Inspector Gadget's body. That was what really tickled him. Like a big old propeller coming out of a hat, and rockets and shoes, you know? That was what he was a fan of.
He actually, the advertising campaign for the first pair of rocket shoes was set to the tune of Buckets of Rain, I think, by Bob Dylan. He's got rockets and shoes, rockets and shoes.
Now
Got all the rockets, put them in shoes. I mean, it wasn't a great song, but it certainly...
It sold the fucking shoes,
Well,
though.
I mean, I think the lawsuit, when Bob Dylan sued him, that was really what put it on the advertising map, so to speak.
Which is called the Barbra Streisand effect, if anyone wants to Google that. When you try and sue someone to stop attention being drawn to you, which inevitably draws much more attention to you.
That is correct.
Now, what you got to know about Coffee Guy's inventive father is that he was one of the first American fans of the anime series Astro Boy. And I'm not talking about the new post-film Astro Boy. I'm talking about OG Astro Boy.
Well, that would make a lot of sense in the timeline of this fable. He obviously... he wasn't watching Astro Boy in the post-movie. Yes.
Correct. Because, as we know, that Java-loving man's father is not with us.
Father
hasn't been with
Java.
us for a long time. Father Java did a lot of trips to Nippon. He actually served in the war during the latter years. He was quite young to be in the army, but, 19 years old, so definitely of age to serve. Ended up falling in love with a young sushi waitress at a local restaurant when he was stationed in Japan. Fell in love. They had a child. He nipped back to America and would periodically come back to his former lover, and fell in love with the culture, fell in love with the food, the music, the artifacts that were around, and really took a liking to Japanese-style cartoons and animation. And he was the one who basically started the manga movement in America. He brought Astro Boy over initially, and I think the world's better for it. If I'm being brutally honest, I think we've all reaped the rewards.
Undoubtedly, undeniably, but you can imagine as the child of such a adventurous, revered and respected figure, I mean, it's a lot to live up to. It's a lot of pressure.
Father Java set that bar high, and he also made Java Jr. very aware.
That's right.
That he had very high expectations of his boy.
He told him that he was not to be given anything, that all of the work he had done was for him, and if Java Boy was to make a name for himself, he was going to have to go about it of his own accord. The only gift he left to him in the will as he passed away was one set of size 11 rocket shoes. Of course, at the time, Java Boy was so overcome with grief, he put them away in a box and sort of forgot about them. Until one fateful day in the year 2008 or 10, whenever the film was made. 10. 10.
10. It was 10.
He opened the box. He saw the shoes. He went for a coffee.
Mm-hmm. So overcome with emotion he was while he was trying to make this fateful decision whether or not to put the rocket shoes on, that there was only one way that he could settle his mind, and that was to sit down at his favourite cafe and absolutely smash the ever-loving fuck out of a cup of joe. A hot, steaming, lovely pile of Java.
That's right. And the drinking technique that you do see in the film is one that he learned from his father. Some historians argue that the spirit of Father Java actually overtook Java Boy in that moment, and the two souls did meet, essentially forming one sort of entity.
Which, of course, is why we see Coffee Guy run off as he does. He feels the spirit starting to enter him, and he realizes that he needs to get to a slightly more sacrosanct setting.
That's right. He also realizes he was wearing the rocket shoes the whole time. Sort of, one of those, the rocket shoes are inside you type discoveries. And that is why, if you look closely, you can see he's, as you pointed out, visibly, he's got rockets on his.
A lot of Wizard of Oz references in this film scattered throughout. Coffee Guy's just one of the more obvious examples. But also Carrie very subtly weaves in the line, I don't think we're in Kansas anymore.
Very subtly.
Did you know that?
Blink and you miss it style lines.
Do you know that is from the movie The Wizard of Oz? Did you realize that?
No, I didn't.
Oh, like we all know about Coffee Guy's rocket shoes. The rocket shoes were always inside you. We all, this is fucking right there. Hits you over the head. But did you realize that I don't think we're in Kansas anymore, Toto, is from a book that was then made into a film?
I'm not a historian and I'm not a nerd, Tim, so that has escaped my attention.
But this is the beauty. This is the genius of Michael Patrick King. He just...
MKP,
these
Michael
little,
Patrick King.
These little literary breadcrumbs for you to just gobble up. And sometimes you get them, and sometimes you're not learned enough yet to get them. So that's why you got to keep watching the movie every week to see if you are gaining more cultural
and
references.
If you're not
and
sure that you're going to get it, it helps to buddy up, as I have done here with my partner Tim.
It's a buddy system, everyone.
That's right.
Jump in the pool, the water's fine.
We're on the back of a horse this week. We're doing a separate activity while we record the podcast. I mean, this is the meaning of friendship. Right? When's the last time you did two activities at once? Presumably never.
When was the last time you shared a horse with a man?
A horse and a film. If the answer is longer than the previous 6 months, take the headphones out, look in the yellow pages, find a company which provides that exact service and get involved because, frankly, you disgust me.
Yeah, real friendship's what it's all about. That's what Guy's trying to communicate there. It's very important. Very important. So, look, a shining light. I'm going to go with Samantha's shorts in the scene when she's in the marketplace making a right goose of herself and about to get chased down by a bunch of local men who were very perturbed by her outcries and her waving around condoms and screaming at people, I have sex. I like her shorts that she's wearing. They're cool. Brightly colored, yellow. Bold.
Tim, you literally plucked this shining light just from you. It was a sort of say what you see situation. I know for a fact because we were nearly at the end of the film and I said out loud, I was focusing very intently, and you tried to say something to me, and I said, I'm trying to find a shining light. And I feel like in that moment, the trigger in your mind went off, was like, oh shit, we're running out of time. I'd also better have a hunt. And I feel like that you saw that.
How dare you?
You said it out loud. You remembered it to yourself just so that you could claim it. And I respect the God-given crap out of you for it because I am drawing absolute blanks.
So reductive, your attitude toward My Shining Light. It was legitimately my favorite part of the film this week. And for you, sir?
My shining light. Shut your eyes and think, Montgomery.
My shining light, my shining
Oh, you know what?
my shining
I don't.
light, my shining
You probably
light.
can't help me on this. My shining light this week, and forgive me if you've heard it before. Very near the start of the film, when the gals walk into Bergdorf Goodman to, do a great piece of exposition explaining that the two sworn enemies from the television show Sex and the City have put their differences aside and are getting married. There's a man in the background of the what's it, sort of the till or the counter at which they're being served, and he's on the phone. And he's on the phone every week. Every week, this character comes back into the film. I mean, he's not essential, but he comes back.
Yeah.
And he's on the blower, and he's looking he's barreling the camera, he's looking right through it, and I like to think, week in, week out, this guy is toiling away and he's reporting in to some higher being, presumably Michael Patrick King, and saying, yes, they're here, the boys are back, they're watching it again.
Don't worry, everyone. Everything's going completely to plan. They're here.
That's
It's
exactly
fine.
right. And it is that
So that's your
moment.
shining light.
It happens very early in the film, but
You
every
definitely
week
have used this one before.
I care not. Look, you were waving in guests as I was explaining it, which
I
is a
know.
very distracting
I
thing to
dispatched
do.
friends to get me pizza here, and now it's here. So I'm going to put a pin in this.
Gladly. You're a real piece of shit, Timbat.
I realise that, and let's all take that on and for the next 7 days till next we meet. I love you all sincerely and dearly. Please communicate with us online, and for the love of holy God, find yourself a Karma Cola and just buy it. Buy many, put them in a bathtub and soak in it. Drink it in, folks. It's good stuff.
That'll do, pig. That'll do.
It's the worst idea of all time. It's the worst idea of all time. It's the worst idea of all time.